You got to work, I think, with my niece, Christina Robinson, on Dexter.
Oh yeah,
It was
yeah,
Astrid. Yeah, she
absolutely.
played Astrid.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, that was a fun show. It was a real yeah, real landmark show. It was
it
very it
was
was
a hoot, as we
yeah.
like to say here in Utah. Um, I, uh, let's start off by saying congratulations on Madelines. It's just a bizarrely funny film,
Oh, thanks.
uh, and I like the fact that you're playing several different different roles in this. Uh, does that tax you as an actress? Do you look forward to doing kind of odd things like this?
I mean, it's a little bit of an actor's dream, right? You get to play multiple roles in one movie. There's a lot of me in this movie for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's taxing, but also, I mean, I co-wrote the movie, so I knew what I was getting into, and for me, it was exciting to get to play these different versions of myself and think about how each of them would interact with the world. So yes, taxing because I literally am going in and out of every scene, but it was fun. It was a good time.
You have to do the scene like 6 or 7 times over and over again from every angle, and it just those take days to do properly. So congratulations on pulling it off.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, it was yeah, it's a lot of setups. So, you're talking to yourself. But I had a friend that just she was my stand-in. And sometimes she's who you're actually like seeing from behind because our hair was the same. So that was helpful because I got to just hang out with my friend and act with my friend all day. His name is Sydney, and she did a great job. But yeah, I mean, definitely like a weird experiment as an actor. But yeah, thanks. It was fun.
Is every set that you're on an education?
Absolutely. I think that's a great way of looking at it. I don't know if I'll ever be on a set and think, well, I'm done. I think I've learned all the things I need to know. I think you always walk away thinking, oh, I would have done that differently, or I'm really glad I made that choice. I think you learn more about yourself and what your limitations are and what you're good at. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been acting since 2006 professionally, 2007 professionally, basically. And it's very rare that I walk off the set thinking, well, that was not worth my time. Like it's always worth my time because I feel like I've learned something about myself or my profession.
What was it like when you got your SAG card? Was it
Oh,
did
wow.
you party?
It was a big deal. I mean, I'm glad that you are bringing that up. I think it's very important for everyone in our industry. And we have a very unionized industry, and they do a lot of work for us. And being a SAG member it legitimizes you as an actor. So I think I got my card in 2007, doing a commercial where my ears start bleeding in the commercial. That's all I really remember.
Wow.
um, but it was huge. And then the last 2 years, I've joined Writers Guild and the Directors Guild, and those were really big deals to me too. I felt feels like you're graduating to professional level when you join those.
Which of those hats do you really like wearing? Producer, writer, or actor, or director?
I mean, at this point in my career, I lean more director.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, it took me a while to get behind the camera. I think a lot of people, switch what they do. They start somewhere and they end up doing something else. I moved to LA to be a producer. I thought I was going to produce. And then I started making a living as an actor and did that for so many years. And then I got a chance to direct a movie in 2013. And since then, I've been sort of chasing that high again and again. But yeah, I mean, it really depends on the project. There's certain things I think I'm not right as a director for, and certain things I'm not right as an actor for. So it does definitely depend.
But a director's job is never really done. In fact, I was just telling Jason this in our interview this morning. Penny Marshall told me that up until the day she died, basically, she was still editing Big
Oh wow.
because it wasn't right. Are you that type of director? I mean, will you edit infinitum?
Not edit, but I will I think it's more that you never leave your job. Like I waited tables when I was in my 20s, and when you wait tables, you clock in and then you clock out, and you're never at home thinking about, wow, I should have delivered that, meal differently or whatever. Whereas now I've somehow given myself a 24-hour a day job, between directing and then writing, as I'm sure you can imagine. You're constantly thinking of new ideas, and then you're like, should I write that down? Should I start writing that script instead? So you can constantly be working on something. I sort of like it, but maybe someday I will be mad about it.
You also have one of the great voices, I think, around, and I love when you do voice work.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
I come from a family of voice actors, and
I can hear it. I hear it. I
No,
hear it
thank
in your voice.
thank you. No, and my aunt was June Foray, who was the voice of Rocky the Flying Squirrel and Natasha and Granny.
Wow.
So, I mean, but I hear that in your voice is that you lend yourself really well to that, but that's another muscle that, I mean, you have to act with your whole voice, like your body.
You do. And when I first started acting, I did some voice work, and I mean, it's similar, but it is different and requires a lot of work to get really good at it. I do a podcast now, which is sort of voice work. But I've definitely stopped doing as much of the voice stuff as my career has gone on.
Podcasts are they're hard work. People don't realize that, people just think, oh, I'll just record this, but it's hard work.
My God, it's every week. I've been doing it every week for 230 some odd episodes. We do a book podcast every week, which is super fun because it kind of gets me out of the career that I'm in, and I get to talk about books, which I love. I'm an avid reader, so just getting to talk about books every week is exciting. But yeah, no, it's hard. It's a lot of work. You have to plan. You have to prepare. I mean, you're outlining, you're promoting. Yeah, I started doing it as kind of a lark, and it's become one of the main things I do every day.
It's great that you're such a Renaissance lady, because it keeps you busy, it keeps you focused, and it also keeps you young.
I hope so. Is that the secret? That's the fountain of youth?
Well, I'm 106.
Wow, you look great. I need to know your skin routine.
Yeah, I started in the days of silent television. So not everybody gets that joke. Some people just stare at you. You lean as an actress toward comedy or drama?
I lean towards horror and sci-fi. In everything I do. Yeah, horror, sci-fi, what I would call genre action, that kind of stuff. Which is sort of neither and sort of both. And you get to do drama and comedy in both. I think it's more akin to comedy because comedy is about timing, and I think horror is about timing. But I'll read like a drama script and I'm like, but then I read a script about a random crime that happened and the caper that goes on around it. And I'm like, this is the script for me. So it's just like, I definitely know that I move that direction.
Horror is coming back in such a big way. There was a time, I think just after the mid 80s, where it got boring and everything seemed the same. But I think because of Jason Blum and other people, it's really lifted into another kind of level.
Yeah, I completely agree. I just directed a movie for Blumhouse, and I feel like they really empower people to make interesting and new choices. And I think there's a lot of new voices in horror. I think there's a lot more women doing horror, which definitely opens up the world and what people are making horror about. But yeah, I love the horror space right now. There's so much fun stuff happening.
Yeah, and I think this new attitude toward you starting a horror film as something that isn't horror, and then slowly, that kind of door opens and in come the demons, and it's such a wonderful time to look at horror scripts.
Yeah. The slow burn. People are willing to put in the time to watch the horror movie. You don't have to have something happen in the first 10 minutes for sure. And I think, it's great. It's such a great time for movies in general, but definitely horror. I feel like every time I turn on any streamer, there's a new horror movie, there's a new genre movie that I'll get to watch, and things I've never heard of. And we have such access to stuff from other countries. So we're getting that, influenced by, I had no idea that I was going to find like Indonesian horror so fascinating, or, things like that. But I feel like it's opened my eyes to the different ways to tell stories.
Do you go back though into the 1930s, 1940s as well, and look at those great noir films? I mean, when you consider that those cameras were the size of Volkswagen Bugs, how they moved those cameras was, it's just mind-boggling.
Yeah, I do go back to look at those movies, and I go back to the 80s. I feel like that's I have to go back to like the prime time to like find a lot of really good influences. Because you're right, there was a lack of good horror for a little while. I'll sometimes try to watch a horror movie from like early 2000s, and they're pretty bad.
It truly is. Well, I didn't know that you worked for Jason. He's such a good guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just did a movie called Torn Hearts.
Oh, really?
I directed a movie called Torn Hearts, and it comes out in May.
Well, we're going to have to talk for that one.
Oh yeah, have me back.
And when you're not America's busiest actress and director, what do you do for hobbies and fun?
I mean, I gave up fun a long time ago.
Fun in LA.
I decided to have a career instead. I have pets, and I do a lot of reading. Like I said, I read a lot. I read about a book a week, sometimes more than that. And during the pandemic, I started making miniatures. I started working on creating little miniature worlds, and that's been really fun.
A horror movie in that, probably.
There definitely is. It's a strange hobby that I never thought I'd pick up, but the pandemic, I think, brought out the weirdness in all of us.
Wow. You're just so busy. I'm so happy that I got to meet you and talk with you. Everybody was telling me that you're just a terrific interview, and they didn't disappoint. They didn't lie.
Oh, good.
They undersold you, as a matter of fact.
That's very nice. That's super nice.
Are you looking for another project, or you got something in going on?
Yeah. I have a lot of things going on. I have some rights to some books, and I'm about to direct another movie. So a lot of stuff going on. I'm trying to, split my time between writing and developing stuff and directing.
If you're looking for an old bald guy, I'll send you this is my audition, actually.
Oh! Are you're auditioning for interviewer, or what's the audition for?
I always play interviewers in movies. I don't know.
You know what? That's a good job. You always need one.
Yeah. I'm Harry the Explainer. I'll come out and tell the audience what's going on, and then go back.
Yes. That's great. I think that's great.
In our final moments, what do you think people are going to get out of Madelines?
I think it's a fun little sci-fi romp that came out of friends wanting to make something together. And I don't know. I think for me, it was about these characters and how their relationship changed over time. So if people look into that, but I just hope people have fun with it.
Have fun with it. That's a great thing. It's going to be on all video on demand platforms. Pre-order it on Apple and the others, and hopefully you'll get a large audience. You did such a great job in this film, by the way.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I'm going to stop recording, but I'm going to just talk to you for a second. And by the way, Satan called and he wants his chair back.
Oh.